WJ Live, powered by the Western Journal. I'm Josh Manning, Deputy Director for... No, I'm not Deputy Director.
Deputy Director.
I'm Deputy Managing Editor for assignment. I've been watching X-Files reruns, and I'm thinking about A.D. Skinner. And I've got a little bit of feedback in my ear, guys. So we are... Hey, can you help me with that?
There we go.
Feedback? It's about 5 seconds late, guys. There we go, thanks. I can deal with a little bit of a delay, but hearing yourself 5 seconds later is unbelievably disorienting.
Yes.
So other than getting my title wrong and not being able to hear correctly, we got a big show for you today. Thank you for spending part of your Wednesday afternoon with us. We are going to be talking about a new ad President Trump released that is it's a series of just body blows to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris dealing with Afghanistan. It's actually got some pretty graphic pictures in it. We're going to be showing that to you here in just a moment and commenting on it. We are also going to be talking about whether or not Biden can survive this. He may end up abandoning Americans in Afghanistan. It is looking more and more like that, and we're going to talk about the repercussions of that. And can a president actually get past this? And then, of course, if he can't get past it, there's a chance that you know who will make it into the big chair. And actually, there's a question of whether or not Biden is already telegraphing that. Has he said as we say around the office, has he said the quiet part out loud? And is he indicating Kamala actually might be coming in sooner than we thought? That's coming up here in a moment. But first, let's talk about this new ad that Trump's PAC, the Save America PAC, has released. It's a minute-and-a-half ad. We're not going to run it for you in all 90 seconds of it at one time.
No.
We're going to break it down a little bit. But essentially what happens in the ad, Trump's people make the case that Biden's America looks an awful lot like Jimmy Carter Redux. It looks like the 70s with inflation, high gas prices, unrest in the Middle East. From that, they go to a conversation about how the Taliban is not taking over Afghanistan, followed very quickly by an admission that, oops, Afghanistan is being taken over by the Taliban. Then we have a montage of the media actually talking about Biden getting it so wrong. And then we deal with the question of what are Americans there to do. So, Russ, let's roll the first piece of this. Again, this is an ad from Trump's Save America PAC. Just came out. It's a fairly graphic ad. Let's run the first piece of this.
America is back.
Highest inflation rate in the U.S.
The southern border is collapsing. The climb of COVID infections.
We amplify our power. We summoned a new strength.
This is a recruitment ad.
Should we be embarrassed?
Diplomacy is back.
Now.
So America is back. And we see Joe Biden stumble. We see high gas prices. We hear inflation. We see unbelievably woke military ads. And we see the Taliban beginning to take over right at the end of that clip. Tara, is this what America being back is? Is this what America
No,
is?
I don't even think it's even close to America being back. In fact, I don't even recognize what kind of country that is putting forth these kinds of advertisements. I mean, if you want to dominate on a world stage, I don't think that it's really great to have a military ad with rainbows and unicorns and love and peace.
Right.
Like, I just
a
don't
soldier
think...
in a wedding dress, a male soldier in a wedding dress.
Yeah, I know. That I honestly wanted to just believe that maybe that lady had short hair, but apparently it's a man. So.
Well, and it's regardless of your opinion on transgender issues, you've got to think about the way the image your force projects to the enemy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is not taken seriously by the people who hate the West.
Definitely
Yeah.
not. No. It's
Sorry, go
sad.
ahead.
No, it is sad. There's not really much even to say. I mean, what can you say? This is what our military is putting forth. This is what we're showing people America is. And it is really sad. And I'm really glad that Trump's been calling them out on this.
Michael, the first thing I thought when this ad ran is, Biden's talking about America being back. It made me think of the Reagan Morning in America comment, which was a classic political ad. But it seemed to be more upbeat than this. Morning in America looked like lower inflation, lower taxes,
Right.
peace in the middle, the Soviet Union surrendering, Gaddafi quieting down, all of those things. This is not. So what is the difference between Reagan's Morning in America and Biden's America being back? What is the key difference? What's causing this to be different? What's the difference between Reagan and Biden? I guess that's what I'm getting at.
Well, Reagan got us heading in the right direction not off of us being headed in the wrong direction. Biden is following up Trump. He's following up a very pro-America First policy platform, and he's bringing us back to the norm of Obama, back to the norm that we've been seeing, this trend that we've been seeing for decades now of just being a little more leftist, a little more socialist, and Biden's bringing us back to that. So, yeah.
So we've got an inkling from this commercial. Things are not the way they're supposed to be in America. Let's run the piece about the Taliban. Taliban's not really in control.
The Taliban are back.
Kabul is not in an imminent threat environment.
The likelihood there's going to be the Taliban overrunning everything and owning the whole country is highly unlikely.
Oh, it's highly unlikely that they will overrun everything and own the country.
Yeah.
Tara, last time I looked, they own the road leading to the only functional international airport there.
Yeah.
Could Biden have gotten that prediction any more wrong? Any wrong?
Absolutely not. I think it is really sad to see where this has been going. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We knew weeks leading up to this that this was going poorly. We saw time and time again, cities were falling. They were slowly being taken over. We're acting like this was a surprise, and it's not a surprise at all. We saw this coming from a mile away. And I think it's really, really sad that we're suddenly with a president who's going to have the Taliban raising their flag over Afghanistan on the 20th anniversary of 9/11. It's absolutely ridiculous.
And he got it done. Biden got all this accomplished just in time so they can gloat about it on 9/11.
The timing. I mean, you couldn't have paid. The Taliban could not have paid Biden to get the timing.
Well, and that's
this
a lot of people saying that is why, or at least that is assumed why Biden rushed the withdrawal so much, is that he did want to be out before the anniversary of 9/11. That's one of the reasons.
You couldn't have pulled out in October.
Yeah,
he could have. Well, in fairness to him, though, Tara, it does appear the only fly in the ointment was all the Americans in Afghanistan he totally forgot about.
Yeah, he just...
So let's run the next piece of this. Remember, we just talked about how, the Taliban's not going to take over. That's what Biden said. Roll the next piece.
They own the whole country now, the Taliban.
The Taliban are now in complete control of Afghanistan.
Complete chaos.
Complete chaos. The first time in 10 years I've said Stephen Colbert is right. It is complete chaos. So, Michael, what did happen? How did they roll in? How did this happen?
I mean, we assume, or at least Biden assumed, that the Afghan military was going to actually stand up for themselves, even though military officials, everyone that had their boots on the ground, they all knew that the Afghan soldiers, they just go whichever way the wind's blowing.
Exactly. We have generations of experience with that.
And people knew this was going to happen, and then Biden was like, "Oh no, it'll never happen," and then it did, and it was just being so hasty, rushing this so much. It's one of the worst foreign policy disasters I've ever seen, in my short career in politics, for sure.
I agree. I can't think of another one. I don't think in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, this is so devastating. And it's gotten so bad, Tara, I want to come to you after the next clip. It's gotten so bad that even the pro-Biden left-stream media, they're beginning to sense it. Roll the next piece.
How did President Biden get this so wrong?
Well, first of all, the mission hasn't failed yet.
If this isn't failure, what does failure look like exactly?
Biden, you destroyed not Afghanistan, but the world!
I don't care if you think I'm Satan reincarnated. Do I bear responsibility? Zero responsibility.
Zero responsibility. And to be clear, the mission in Afghanistan hasn't failed yet. Yet. So, I mean, Tara, this looks an awful lot like failure to me. Is this something other than failure?
It absolutely is failure. I think that it's important to remember every good captain goes down with their ship. You know, that's something always that freaked me out when I was a kid growing up and hearing that. But it's like, come on, take responsibility here. You know, you have all of these people under you and all of these things. It's like, why not own up to it at some level? Because at least right now, when the media that's in your pocket that already adores you is being like, maybe this is a bad idea, I can respect someone a lot more if they're like, oh, I screwed up. But he refuses, and it's like, we're seeing the footage, we're seeing the videos.
Yeah. So quick, let's take the last piece of this, and this is the most alarming part right now. What's happening in Afghanistan now, and as it relates to Americans. Let's take that last piece.
China is ready for friendly relations with the Taliban.
I feel like they're gonna stop at the door right there, and the Taliban, and they're gonna come in and kill us.
Slow down, everybody.
We have to ask the Taliban for permission for American citizens to leave. True or not true? They are in control.
I can't think of anyone better to lead this operation than
You're just chanting death to America.
You call yourself a president?
So, Michael, that segues really nicely into the topic
Yes.
you're wanting to talk about. Can Joe Biden actually survive this?
It seems to be more and more unlikely with each passing day, especially with the news we got yesterday, which was Biden is planning to pull out all U.S. troops within 48 hours from now, no matter how many American citizens are left in the country. You know, he's the way they're positioning this whole thing is we're going to get as many people as we can get out, and then whoever's left, I guess they're just going to have to fend for themselves there because we're not going to have troops there. You know, the UK, France, all these other countries have been sending in special operations officers. They've been trying to go in and rescue their citizens who have been trapped because of Biden, because of the hasty withdrawal. And yet we've just been negotiating with the Taliban. We've been counting on them to let our citizens into the airport. And obviously, you know, we're so weak that why would they listen to us? You know, we should be threatening to destroy them completely if they don't give us every single one of our citizens back.
Yeah, if all they have to do is wait 48 hours. I mean, I can stand on my head for 48 hours if I have to. They can do that. I mean, these are people who are used to living in caves and off of K rations. They can do that with no problem.
And, you know, there's reportedly today, they're saying that 4,000 Americans are still in Afghanistan. Now,
that's gotta be small.
They've also said that they've gotten 4,000 out, and earlier last week they said that there was 10 to 15,000. So the numbers keep changing. So I have a sneaking suspicion the administration has no idea how many Americans are over there.
I don't think they do. Last week I heard some of the figures you heard. I heard 40,000 as well, and then I heard from one source, I think 70 plus. I think you're exactly right. They have no idea.
Yeah, 10 to 15,000 Americans was the statistic most used last week. And then we know as of yesterday or this morning that we got 4,000 out. And now they're saying there's only 4,000 left. So those numbers don't quite add up.
Hope you're not in that 2,000 that vanished.
That vanished mysteriously.
Oh, my.
But they're going to pull out all troops 48 hours from now. They want everything, you know, they want the whole Afghanistan situation to be behind them by August 31st for some unknown reason. And what really frightens me is what Jen Psaki was saying during a recent Q&A on the whole Afghanistan situation. And basically, it seems like the way they're going to angle this is that, hey, the Americans that didn't get out of Afghanistan, well, they didn't want to. Why don't we go ahead and roll that clip?
Say after the withdrawal, it's done, you know, it's declared, it's done, everyone's out. If one US citizen was suddenly discovered, you know, saying, hey, I really want to get out and I'm stuck, who knows where, somewhere in Afghanistan or in Kabul, he's got any problem, would this trigger a diplomatic, military, all hands on deck type thing to get that person out, whatever the date?
Our commitment continues to be to US citizens. If they want to leave, we will help get them out.
No matter what the date.
Again, we expect there could be some, but I'm not going to get into it further. Go ahead.
So that's pretty clear to me. If they want to leave, they will get out. And our end date is definitely the 31st. They've said the total troop withdrawal, they'll stop evacuating people in 48 hours from now. That's according to reports, you know, from NBC News to Politico to Fox News. It's not a bipartisan thing. Everybody's agreeing. That seems to be when they're pulling everybody out. And anybody left behind, well, it wasn't because the terrorists have surrounded the airport and they're not letting anyone in. It's because they didn't really want to leave. Like, if they wanted to leave, we would have helped them. We would have helped them leave.
It's insulting.
So what I'm getting from this is that this Afghanistan situation, if we do leave Americans behind, let's say there's even just a couple, and if something bad were to happen to those Americans, that would be the nail in Biden's coffin. There is no recovering from that. But absent of that happening, it's unclear to me how much this disaster actually hurts him, because with how partisan things are nowadays, it seems to me like the left might just stand by him regardless. Yeah. The right will hate him for it. And this isn't really going to sway too many opinions. Now, one of our assignment editors, Joey Chester in the office, he believes that this situation has totally lost independence for Biden. They are totally turning against him right now. So I wanted to bring this to you guys and say, is this going to be the disaster of the Biden administration? Will this be the thing he was remembered for? Is this going to really hurt his chances in 2024?
I think that as of right now, this has got to be one of the worst Biden disasters. I think that it also is just unfair that we even have to have this conversation, because if you think back to when Trump was in office, it was, the border disaster, this disaster, da-da-da-da-da, like pulling at straws.
Yeah.
This is truly a disaster, and I'm praying and hoping that the media doesn't let him get away with it, because right now we have a plethora of excuses to be thinking about different things like COVID, masks, mandated vaccinations, all of these other issues. And so I'm just hoping that those don't distract from the actual humanitarian crises occurring across the globe right now.
Do either of you guys remember who said this was like Dunkirk? I think it was last week. I can't remember who said it. Somebody did.
Either, yeah.
The more I've thought about it, the more I've thought, gosh, that's kind of true. I mean, the administration had to tap civilian airliners to help get people out. Right. You've got independent groups in the United States raising money to get people out. Yeah. So sans the United States government. We ran a story this morning on westernjournal.com, a news story. Mexico is helping people who are trying to flee Afghanistan. Yeah. Mexico! Mexico! That is what this feels like. It feels like the administration has no idea what to do. But the difference between this and Dunkirk is that the Nazis had pushed the British back as far as they could. Everybody was fleeing, despite the British and the French trying to hold. The difference here is we just gave it to them.
Yeah.
We walked out in a month. Look at the difference.
Right.
We gave it to them. There's no reason for this to happen. And so I go back to, we talk about Dementia Joe. We talk about Sleepy Joe.
Yeah.
I definitely think there are issues there. But I also think, I think Joe he's functional. He's a functional human being, at least for the most part. Is this just crazy bad judgment? What else explains this?
It's bad judgment, but I think what really binds everything together is just the fact that his administration is so disorganized and so incompetent. We were just talking about how the numbers for people in Afghanistan, those keep shifting all over the place.
Nobody knows.
We ran a story last week about how there were several reports indicating that they were charging Americans $2,000. Americans had to sign $2,000 promissory notes to the U.S. government if they wanted to get on an evacuation flight.
Which they denied. And
they denied it.
We went on.
We went to their website.
And they tried to charge us $2,000.
They denied it. We went to their website, and then to sign up for evacuation from Afghanistan, it makes you sign away a promissory note that says, I will pay up to $2,000 to the American government. That's if it is true that they weren't doing that, that's incompetence, that people have to sign a legally binding agreement to pay $2,000.
You're protected by the United States government and military.
But at least
paid enough. There's a $2,000 rescue tax.
But hey, $2,000 plus what? They got $4,000 out. They got $4,000 more to get out. That might help fund some of their social programs. Who knows?
Absolutely. Yeah. You could harvest a lot of balance.
The new round of
that.
stimulus check.
You could have,
coming from Afghanistan.
Checks.
But Tara, do you think this is more incompetence? Do you think this is more just corruption? What do you think is at fault for this massive scandal?
I think what happens with the left is they mistake confidence with competence. And so I think that they really believe in themselves and think, oh, we're going to go and do this and we're going to be great and it's all going to go great. And then they go and enact these plans and go, wow, we really didn't think this through. And so I think at the end of the day, it doesn't take like us three sitting here to be like, oh, like there's this news story coming out. Oh, this city was lost. There's no excuse in my mind that these people didn't know what was happening. And so I think that they kind of said, oh my gosh, it's too little too late, and just decided to fully pull out. And now all of our allies are also screwed over.
Yeah,
so
they are. Yeah.
Man, yeah, wouldn't you be ticked off if you had people in state?
We saw the British Parliament just condemning Biden, the other day.
Tony Blair.
Yeah.
It's an imbecilic decision.
Yeah.
Across the political spectrum, the Parliament in the UK.
So you want to talk about, Biden has improved our standing on the world stage.
Oh my gosh.
Other countries trust Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Joe Biden has just sold out every Western country that had anybody in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
He has sold them out, man. They are screwed, and royally so.
Well, it's really bad, too, when China feels the need to come forward and go, oh, yeah, the last 20 years there has been a real humanitarian crisis. When China comes out and is like, oh, oof,
You've got 1 million Uyghurs enslaved, and you have netting around the Foxconn building.
The genocide capital of the world today.
So the Apple pseudo-slaves don't kill themselves working at Foxconn. Okay, so we've established fairly well that this is devastating to Biden. Whether or not it'll take him down, whether Joey's right and he's finished, or whether it's unclear. One fact does remain: if Biden leaves early, there's one person waiting to take that space, and that's Kamala Harris.
Yes, Kamala Harris is due to be the next president of the United States. Don't take my word for it. Joe Biden basically just said that. It's really, really concerning, and we have the video right here for you.
My 2 daughters were born that you can do anything a man can do. It's one thing for somebody to say that and keep pounding that in the head of their 5 granddaughters as well. But guess what? Until they see it, until they watch, it becomes real then. That's why, by the way, it happens to be in Asia for me right now, but that's why we have a female vice president of the United States of America we're going to have some presidents pretty soon.
Yeah, that seems concerning to me. I know that maybe it actually was strategy on Biden's part to send her all the way to Asia, because I think he's not supposed to walk downstairs in front of her. I think he also has a food taster. So I think he's actually taking some precautions.
He's worried about a palace coup.
Yeah, palace coup. But again, I actually got another set of exclusive footage from the Biden administration. And here we actually see Kamala Harris and her cronies working on their master plan for takeover.
Oh, right. The poison for Cusco. The poison chosen specially to kill Cusco. Cusco's poison. Fat poison?
Yes, fat poison.
Gotcha covered.
Cusco, of course, being the Secret Service code name for Joe Biden.
Yeah. So I just thought that would be great to show you. But I think that it's very true, and I think it's actually really sad that we even have to have this conversation and be like, oh, she's clearly waiting in the wings. And it's like we've seen time and time again where it's a picture of Joe Biden and then Kamala Harris in the distance. So my question for you guys is, how do you think that this reflects on the world stage?
Do you just very quickly? Do you guys remember that picture that showed up a couple weeks ago? Biden in the foreground and Kamala just barely peeping out from the side. If anybody in the booth can find that and we can put it up, that would be hilarious. She's just behind a column, just kind of peeping out, like she's getting ready to hit him with a blowgun dart or something.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was your question?
It was just, how do you think that this reflects on the world stage? You know, when you have a president openly being like, oh, good thing I have a second in command.
Well, they already don't respect him. You know, Biden goes to all those summits where he meets all the other world leaders and he can't even remember their names. There's actual clips of him going like, yeah, and this guy, and yeah, oh, you know the thing, and then he just they don't respect him, and then this is just news of this. As news of this gets more and more prevalent, that Kamala Harris is going to take over. You know, there's lots of left-wing places saying that too. This isn't just a partisan thing. As that news spreads, the rest of the world is going to understand. Oh, this guy's not competent to be president. They're already, bringing in his replacement. So yeah, that's, to me, it just further solidifies nobody respects our president.
Yeah. I think you're 100% correct. And we've touched on this last time. I know I brought it up, but Kamala Harris's ratings have just gone completely and nosedived.
Through the floor.
They've tried blaming it on sexism, and that old hat trick failed.
Women hate her too.
Yeah, I can vouch on behalf of women. I'll be like, I don't really like her.
Yeah.
But the Washington Examiner just had a new article today, and they said that she has the lowest rating in 28 years, which is incredible. And now her positive rating is only at 37%.
Yeah. Approval.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
37%. I don't know. I'd like to believe I have a higher popularity rating in my own life, but
we could trot out literally anyone and beat her if she
really
ran.
could.
Yeah.
She not as bad as Hillary, but she's pretty darn close. And she might just end up being more unlikable if she has to, run a full campaign. So.
Like Rosie O'Donnell is probably more likable than that.
Oh, I would say so. Yeah.
Andy Dick.
Yeah.
Probably more likable.
Well, at least they can be kind of funny sometimes, and they're not just robotic.
Have the horrible cackle.
Corrupt.
The corrupt.
They are
cackle.
corrupt, but yeah.
Yeah. I would even be willing to say, I think if I had to sit and talk to Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris, I feel like I'd choose Hillary Clinton.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Because I just couldn't stand the dead look that Kamala Harris would give me with the condescending smile, bobblehead look.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I am not positive. Say whatever you want about Hillary Clinton. She is freaking smart. She is smart.
Yeah.
She's not the smartest woman who ever lived.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
was what they were all saying in the 90s. She is smart. She would be interesting to talk to. I don't think Kamala Harris has an original thought in her head.
No. Yeah.
No.
That's obviously, she always goes with whatever the wind. She just goes with what's going to be most popular. So
yeah, that's exactly what it is. Joe Biden could announce that we are going to re-invade Afghanistan and Iraq tomorrow, and I think she would be totally fine with it.
Well, yeah, and I think it's good
power.
to point out that even when she was campaigning against him and running against him, she failed in the polls then too. But she literally came out and said he was a vicious racist who hates African Americans.
Oh yeah.
And so it's either you're a liar, or you have no principles whatsoever and are just power hungry. And so I think she's probably both. But
it wasn't just racist. Remember, she says she believed Biden's accuser. She said she believed the woman who said that Biden had pinned her up against the wall and then gone under her skirt. She said she believed that. And now she's cool palling around with him in the White House. And were you the one who were you telling me the other day that she was confronted about that in an interview? And she said, oh, it's just a debate.
Yeah, no, she did. She said that a while ago. Yeah, she was confronted about it. Do you still believe her? Why did you say these things? I was like, oh, it's just a debate.
It is power. She will go in the direction that she thinks power is.
Well, and the just a debate thing, she'll say whatever it takes to get a step ahead.
That's exactly
no matter how not true it is.
It's just a debate. It's just a debate.
Yeah.
Well, the Washington Examiner wrote this morning, too. They said the vice president's very positive versus very negative rating to rank her thermometer reading found that there was a gap of a whopping negative 17 points, nearly tripling the next worst. And Biden's is at a negative 6, which is just about the same as his first year at the Obama administration. So I think that just goes to show that just over time, how poorly this truly is, because it's not just a thing of I don't like their politics, I don't like this. It's I can disagree with someone's politics and be like, oh, you know what, at least they have charisma. Barack Obama did not agree with his politics, but you know what, you could say oh, he has that kind of presidential charisma.
Well, what I think is great about all this is that, you know, Kamala has stayed out of the spotlight a lot because she is very unlikable. They know that. They don't let her say a lot of things or do a lot of things. Biden, he's had a huge advantage this whole time because he's so bland. So as long as he does an okay job, or as long as he does not a terrible job, he's going to be fine. But he's been doing such a terrible job that he just can't escape these tanking approval ratings. And it keeps becoming a win, and a win for us the more he does this sort of stuff. Unfortunately, it's not a win for Americans left in Afghanistan. Yeah. But going forward, we might be able to take this country back.
So super predictive question here, totally up in the air. Let's say Biden, he can't finish it out.
Yeah.
He can't finish it out. We get the female president he was talking about. We get that sooner rather than later. What does that do in 2024?
Well, I mean, I don't think there is any sort of reality where she can win in 2024, regardless. If she's president before 2024, I think the left try to run some people against her.
Yeah,
they have to. That's the only prediction I think I can see out of that.
Their only hope.
If they didn't, they would lose no matter who. And you know, I'm very nervous about Trump getting back in the ring against Biden because I think Biden just has this invulnerability just because of how bland he is, whereas Trump is very good at getting negative attention on him. But you know, if you threw Trump against Harris, I have a feeling he would win that.
I do think he would win that. I think that right now what I'm like hoping happens is it's Joe Biden versus DeSantis, or whoever DeSantis chooses. Because if it were to come down to Kamala and Trump again, I think it would just be a repeat of 2016, and everyone would be like, "Oh, the lesser of two evils, the lesser of two evils," and then you have to sit debating all day, being like, "Oh, this is why I chose this person," and it's like, "Oh, okay, I can see that." And I think people are just over it. People want to have adults, you know, running against each other. We don't want to see this like nitpicking catfighting, and I think people are over it.
Yeah, well, until they stop running these, you know, kooks and they actually run someone like Tulsi Gabbard from the other side, we're not going to get an adult from the Democratic Party.
So that's my, and we've gone over time, but I'm just curious now. That's my last question. So if they, let's say it did work out in that crazy way where they had to run somebody, they had to try to primary Kamala.
Yes.
Who do they run?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, my gosh.
You know, the field was so big last time, and
who's their best chance? That's what
best chance. Oh man, I have no idea.
I don't know. I would just take an ignorant guess.
It's somebody that they didn't run last time. That's for sure.
It is, and who the heck is that? They ran.
They don't have anybody.
They don't have.
They have no bench.
They don't even have like a DeSantis like up and comer.
If they just got Tulsi Gabbard to run,
that's what they'll never do.
Yeah. So
they hate her.
Yeah.
They hate her.
And it's interesting because I drove across the country down from Minnesota to Arizona, and I'm not kidding you. On the way down here, we didn't see a single Biden sign, but we saw Tulsi Gabbard signs. I'm not kidding. I'm not even kidding.
Of course.
Of course.
Amazing. So
it's amazing. All right, that's okay. That's it. So, folks, try to end on a high note here. It is a rough time in America right now, but as the last about 3 minutes of this conversation should indicate, there's hope.
Yes.
First off, the ultimate hope is in Christ. We don't have a king; we have a Savior. That's the most important thing. Past that, even accepting that. There actually is a lot of hope out there. They have no bench.
Yeah.
We have got a ton of people who could make an enormous impact. There's no shortage of conservatives out there who really do represent heartland America, and I think that's what the people sitting at this table are. I think that's probably what most of you guys who are watching right now are. We're just kind of heartland American people who want the best for the country, and there are a lot more of us out there than certainly than the media wants us to think. So be encouraged. I do think brighter days are ahead. It is always darkest before the dawn. And I do think maybe it will be morning in America again before too long. That's something to hope for and to pray about. But anyway, on that note, thank you for watching today. Remember, we're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. You can always tune in and catch us. It won't always be these three people, but there's some combination of folks. And if you would like to support us, We thank you for just reading our articles, for just watching. That is a huge support. If you feel led to support us in a more direct way, you can go to westernjournal.com/join. That's westernjournal.com/join. There are a couple ways there that you can partner with us to help fund the journalism and media presence from the other side. We are not the establishment media. We like to think of ourselves as really a voice for Heartland America. And there are ways you can partner with us to help continue that and build that out. Lastly, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to click the subscribe button. After you click that button, you'll be able to click a little bell. It's going to pop up. Click that. That's going to make sure that you get notified when we go live, and we will never be shadow banned as far as you're concerned. So that's it for Michael, for Tara.
Yep.
I didn't introduce you guys at the top of the show.
Yeah, I'm Michael, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I'm Tara.
Michael Austin, supervising reporter. Tara Schneider. Tara, not Tara. Tara Schneider.
Schneider.
Schneider. When you came on board, we changed your name. Who's just started with us officially. Welcome.
Actually, next week, but
yeah. It's actually next Monday, but yeah.
I don't know. She comes to the office. I don't know what she does. But anyway, we're glad she's here. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you Friday afternoon.
Welcome back to WJ Live. And I'm joined today by assignment editor Joey Chester, as well as crack reporter Michael Austin.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.